Come on, come all to the spectacular video of me talking absolute bollocks for about 10 minutes. Maybe not even as long as that, you might get off lucky tonight. It has come to my attention that I should really script these things. But I can't really be bothered, it's an awful lot of effort. Do you know what I mean? Script videos? How is it meant to sound real if it's all scripted? Anyway, tonight I'm going to be giving you early impressions on what I think of the Xbox SX and the PlayStation 5. Or as I've come to call it, Johnny 5, because it's the size of Short Circuit. Seen that movie? Fucking brilliant, man. Johnny 5 is alive. Anyway, moving swiftly on. The two new machines that were released, well technically there was three. There was the Xbox SX, which I purchased. Xbox SS, which is digital only, so that can fuck itself. And there's a digital only and the disc version of the PlayStation 5. I bought the disc version and I'm very happy to see on Twitter that I think a lot of folk did that as well. I think you limit yourself too much with a digital only machine. That means you can only get games from one place and one place only. Sony or Microsoft, and you know what? You know what I say to that, people? Fuck that. For when you go all digital, you can only go one place for your games. Fair enough, they've got some decent sales on every now and again, but I'd rather not rely on them solely. For 9 times out of 10, the disc release is cheaper than the digital one, which makes absolutely zero sense to me. And I've come to find out why that is. Why do Sony and Microsoft charge through the arse for a game that should cost not as much as they're charging for it? Like, they'll charge 60 and you'll be able to get it on disc through Amazon for 50. It's because they can charge those prices because they've got no competition on their own system. Strange enough, you know, and it's not very likely that Steam or Epic Game Store are going to get put on these machines because like, well, why would we let them into our own shops? That's kind of silly. So yeah, don't go digital yet. In fact, I'd fight it as much as you can. Not for the fact that the games don't have physical copies, just more for the fact that we're going to get ripped off a lot more than we already are. I suppose I should talk about these machines now, eh? I suppose so. We'll start off with the Xbox and then we'll move on to the PlayStation 5. And I'll do that because the Xbox came out first. It came out a week before the PlayStation 5, okay? So, it came out November 10th. I got it November 10th. Brought it up the stairs. Heavy package. It's a beast. It's heavy. But it's not actually as big as you think. The machine's thicker than like your average Xbox. But it's not this ginormous obelisk that we all thought it was going to be. Like, oh look at that, it's the thing for fucking Space 2001. Where it's going to further the evolution of humans by, or whatever, thousands of years. No, it's nothing like that. PS5's like that. But this thing's actually, it's just a rectangle, it's just a big cube. Okay, it's like a rectangular cube. But you know what I mean, it's nothing, it's no hideous to look at, it's just a big rectangle. And it's not massive, it's thick, but it's small. It's weird to explain. I've got it sitting above my television, and I've done that with the PlayStation as well, just to give it maximum airflow. And it just, well, I think it looks better up there. I don't think it looked very nice underneath my TV, because it's the amount of space that it wouldn't have. I'm more worried about the heating, actually, with the machines than anything else. I don't really care how they look at the end of the day because, well, they're either going to sit above a TV or under a TV and you're going to forget about them and you're just going to get on with your game playing, you know what I'm saying? So, it's not like I'm sitting going, oh, look at that PlayStation 4, it's a weird looking bastard. Actually, it's a very well, nicely designed, sleek looking bastard compared to the burst sofa that is the PlayStation 5. Anyway, upon setting up this new Xbox, it does its all rigmarole thing. We'll sign in and you'll do your wee updates, and that took about 15-20 minutes tops, didn't take long at all. I was quite happy. Booted up, signed in, downloaded my profile, blah blah blah, all done in about 20 minutes. Put a game in, just games are games, and the download speeds are not changed, unfortunately. They still take fucking hours and hours, and I was like, well, I'm not going to be playing Assassin's Creed tonight. Well, for a kick-off, the Xbox was delivered 2 hours late, so that was never going to happen anyway. I was meant to get it at 6, go to it at like 7:30, 8 o'clock. So I was miffed. I don't know what happened. DHL must have fell asleep at the wheel or something like that, who knows. But I got this thing late, so I didn't get a chance to play really anything on it until a day or so later, where it's done all its updating and it's done all its downloading. And like I said, the machine setup was fine. It was the games that took ages. Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Now, bearing in mind, it's a new game at the time, brand new machine. The servers are going to get their arses kicked, so fine. That's fine. It's unavoidable. Still took 6 hours too long in my opinion, but it's like, oh, yeah, this super fast SSD, and it's like normal internet speeds. You're like, yeah, well, I can't really help that. I'm not even sure Microsoft could have done much about it, but it just seems to be the way it is, the way it was. That's no change, but yet you want it to be digital. Yeah, waiting days upon days for your games to download, it's just not appealing. Even with these updates, it's not appealing. You need all the 4K resolutions and all your fancy bells and whistles. Now it takes time to download. Imagine you download the whole fucking thing. No thank you. And I get to mitigate some of these downloads with having, you know, data on the disc. If you've chose digital, you've just humped yourself. So the major thing is it's very familiar for the Xbox One. If you've got an Xbox One, you decide to upgrade, cool. Nothing's changed. Do you know what I mean? Everything's the same, really. And here's where the disappointment can come in for people. It's like there's no real sense of progression. It's just a more powerful version of what you had before. It still feels like a mid-generation refresh, even though it is a far bigger upgrade than the Xbox One X was compared to the Xbox One. It just feels more of the same, and that has got its negatives and its positives. Its positives is you don't need to get used to a new system, a new interface. Everything the way it was before is the way it is now. Slightly different backgrounds in which they move, so they jingle and jangle. I don't really give a shit about all that crap. I'll get a nice downloaded picture or something, or a picture from one of my games, and I'll upload that as a background, and it'll stay that way for like a decade. But there's no... This doesn't feel like a new generation when it comes to Microsoft's machine. It just feels like an upgrade, which is a bit of a shame. Loses that special oomph when it comes to getting a new console or a new bit of tech, and I love getting new tech. Absolutely love it. As for playing games themselves on Xbox SX, I've only played one next gen. It's not even next gen, it's current gen as well. It's a cross-gen game, so it's not got that full oomph of the machine, and that's not going to happen for at least a year. I think Cyberpunk will push it a bit more, but yeah, it looked good. It's got some issues with screen tearing and some frame rate drops here and there. They're very infrequent, but they're bloody annoying. Happens more so when you're in a town or it's really busy, like really busy with effects, but it's nothing to spoil, or nothing that has spoiled my enjoyment of the game so far. It's just blooming annoying. Digital Foundry did a comparison between the PS5 and Xbox SX, and they discovered that the Xbox SX was performing at an approximate 15% less efficiency. Fucking Discord, you bastard. Which is actually quite disappointing in my eyes and a lot of people's eyes that own the SX. It's like, well, what the fuck? Why? Did you spend more time in the PS5 version? Is the Xbox more difficult to code for? I don't see how, because they're all pretty much the same architecture. So I'm like, I don't get it. It's probably just been some sort of oversight. Some setting has been left on and they've not turned it off, and it's a fuck knows when it comes to games development, you know that. Something's been forgotten somewhere, but like I say, it's much of a muchness. I don't really care all that much. I just thought I'd bring it up for folk that do. They can rip themselves apart over this if they like, but who gives a shit really, you know? I try not to get involved in console wars because I find it's probably one of the most immature, childish, pathetic, loseristic thing that anyone can engage in. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? I remember like, being like 5 years old, you know, that's like fighting over toy guns when you were a fucking infant. Yeah. So at least kids have got an excuse. They don't know any better. We really should. So get a break, eh? Fucking nonsense. I liken console wars to like football hooliganism. It's not quite as bad as that, but they have the same sort of intensity of argument over, you know, who can kick a ball better and what plastic box plays their game better. It's all the same level of fucking lame. So that's my early thoughts of the Xbox SX. It's an impressive looking piece of kit, sort of. with some really impressive specs to be sure now, and it's not really getting to show that off. We'll see what happens with Cyberpunk next month, but other than that, everything kinda just looks like the way it was going before. Right, on to the PS5. Right, I'm just going to start off by saying the PS5 has got to be one of the ugliest machines I've ever seen in my life. Now, I know I said prior that, oh, it's going to go under your TV or above it and you're not going to really pay attention to it, blah blah blah, which is true, but this is an initial reaction here, okay? And I was like, okay, now it's every bit as shit looking as I thought it was going to be, and maybe a little bit more, because it was quite heavy. Actually, it was heavier than the Xbox, I think. No, not astronomically, like what's pounds heavier, but it's just it's got a bit more heft to it. It's got a bit more of an arse, the old PS5 than the SX. That's what I will fucking say. That it has got an arse. It's like a worst couch if ever I saw one, but it's not a pretty machine. It's not pretty. And so you plug it all in, do all the hippity ribbit plugs, fucking spaghetti junction behind the TV and all that shit. And then same sort of time it took me to get the PS5 set up that it did the Xbox, maybe a little bit longer. And that's because I had like 3 different things that needed to download. It was like, oh, you want to play your PS5? Well, we need an update. Right, okay, dokie then. Oh, you want to use external storage in your PS5? That'll need a separate update, which your machine will restart again. I was like, okay. Oh, so you think you want to go online with your PS5? That'll be a further update and another restart. And I'm like, can I just have done all that in the first fucking place? It was like 3 separate updates. The Xbox only had to update once, but swings and roundabouts, you know. So that was a bit weird. It was just weird. I mean, I know that it's a Japanese machine and it sort of suffers for Japanese design, but rather than having it on one page, it'll go through every fucking single thing you've won in the level, one by one, click by click, click by click. It was really, really irritating. Sort it out, Sony. I do enjoy making mountains out of molehills at times. It is fun. Come on now. So upon getting the PS5 all set up and all that shit, I was having issues with the auto copying. I put in Call of Duty and it copied fine. Took it out. Done all the update and all that shit. Put in Miles Morales and it was like, oh, there's been some sort of error. I was like, what sort of error? Copy error. So I copied all the data from the disc onto the machine, but it hadn't finished updating. So I took the disc out and it deleted everything. I was like, oh, that's fucking smashing that, isn't it? And it did this with Sackboy Adventures as well. So I was like, fuck it. So I went online, had a wee rummage around, and they're like, factory reset your machine. I thought, I'm fucking just taking it out the box. I shouldn't be having to do that. Did it anyway, and it fixed it for Miles, but it didn't fix it for Sackboy. But what I did next was genius. I copied all the data off the disc and I let it update, and then it was fine and it stayed where it's supposed to. Now PS4 had this really handy feature called folders, where you could sort all your games out and all your apps and all that shit. PS5 doesn't have that, and I think that's really fucking irritating because I don't like the mess of the actual dashboard screen on the PlayStation 5. Everything's fucking everywhere. Whenever you put a disc in, that wee icon gets jumped up to the start of the queue. It's just like PS4 did that, but it also had folders. Why the fuck does this thing not have folders? Now, everything the PlayStation 4 had prior to this coming out, the PlayStation 5 should also have. It should have everything the PS4 can do, the PS5 should be able to do. I don't mind if it doesn't do anything more than that. It's just out, but I do expect, coming from one machine to the next, that it does everything that the predecessor does, because then it's not really so much of a predecessor as just a needless upgrade, or just a bit more annoying, quite frankly. I don't know, it's folders, it's only a small thing. It's like, oh well, it's got all that extra power for video games, Craggs, all that. But I like the folders, and it's not there, and I paid all this money for something not to be there. It's like, well, we'll just patch it in later. Shouldn't be having to patch things in later. Everything the PS4 does, the PS5 should be able to do. No excuses, no ifs, no buts, no roundabouts, no fucking about. That's my thoughts. Good. Right. What else? Something. Dark Side. Something fucking PS5. Something. Games look good. I haven't really played much in it because it's been downloading and downloading and downloading. Updates, PS4 updates. Fucking, putting the bastard in standby mode or whatever, rest mode, and only downloads so much of each update because for some reason it needs the disc in to finish some of the. And I'm like, fucking hell! So you have 50 downloads, it's 50 upgrades or 50 whatever fucking I don't know emulator patches make the PS4 games run on the PS5. 50 and 43 of them can't download, and you're like, fuck's sake, it's wasted all that time. And I was like, why can't it download? So you click on one. And it'll be like, oh, you need to put a disc in. I thought, for a fucking update, what do I need the disc in for? See, what is it asking this shite for? I seem to be quite annoyed actually with this. It's a wee bit of hidden bitterness I never knew was actually there. But see, when you get between me and my game playing, and it's not my fault, fuck you, okay? I can't decide what's going to be going in my machine. That's my fucking bag. That's my problem. It's my hang up. I put in a game in, it needs to download, and then it needs to download again, and then maybe doesn't work that time, and it's like, well, that's your fault, and I'm going to come after you like a fucking bullet train from Nagasaki to Hero fucking Jobby or whatever. I don't know. Did I mention I should really be scripting these videos? I think that's half the fun, me just talking pish, and then recording 20 minutes worth of dialogue audio, and then going, I forgot to mention that. Fuck it, it's too late. Even though I could just re-record a new bit, not re-record, but record a new bit and then slot it in somewhere. But that, do you know what, people, that just takes effort. I'm not all about that right now. I can't be arsed with effort. Effort takes too much out of me. Look, I use up all my effort in a day going to my work and coming back. Okay, I have a day job. I have to survive somehow, so this is how I do it. So I enjoy doing these videos, but when it comes to effort, for 5 fucking views, sorry, next. Also, I thought Astro's Playroom was supposed to be preloaded. I went, oh, that's great, I'll have something to play with everything else is downloading. That needs downloaded. Fucking hell, man. I thought, I was told that was preloaded on the system. Clearly not. Clearly a lie. Another one. It's a small one, but it's like when you think you've got something to do, then all of a sudden, poof, you've not. And do you know what? While you're downloading or you're updating, you've actually just pushed me to play my Xbox. It's not really what the Sony mob want to hear, that there was that much updating that you went and played the competitor. That'll upset someone. Fucking good. Let it upset you. Let that upset fill you up, bad boy. You are a fucking prick. So what have I played on PS5? Nothing next gen, I'm afraid. Actually, that's a lie. Played the first mission of Miles Morales. Ah, it's good. It was a very snowy game. Very winter based. I like that since we're in winter. Will I be able to play it during the summer, do you think? Do you think the weather will change? I think it'll be a dynamic thing. Be quite nice actually, so no matter when you play it, it's the weather outside. So if you're playing it in Scotland, you'll have snow, 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 half an hour of sun, and it'll rain the whole time. Down to the next, belch of snow. And that's all I've played next gen, and it just feels like the original Spider-Man. It's like, I played Doom as well. I played Doom and fucking the new Modern Warfare, and that's it. And getting that Modern Warfare to work, what a fucking palaver, man. Having to fucking download about 1,000,001 compatibility packs. I don't actually think Treyarch know how to make a fucking game, or is it Infinity Ward, or Sledgehammer, Jobby Hammer, fucking Raven? Who fucking knows at this point? Those games are a technical fucking shambles. And it really shows when you're like, you've got data packs 1 to 3, multiplayer packs 1 to 2, fucking Spec Op pack 1, 2 and 3, fucking high resolution texture pack. You're like, fucking hell. Really pissed me off. Took about fucking 3 weeks to get the thing to fucking work. I've actually been trying to play this for about 3 or 4 months. Downloading on the packs, couldn't get it to work on PS4 at all, and then you actually realise you have to sign into Activision's fucking account. Funny how it worked then, without any fucking horrible hitches. Pricks. Anyway, this is what I think of next gen so far. It's a bit of a waste, isn't it? Aye. See you later. That's a pure waste.